That's my leg.
Oh.
Actually, let me turn it off so it doesn't do that. Sorry. It was a beautiful night in late July of 2010. A young lady and I decided to go for a ride. We were downtown Milwaukee, and we were heading straight through an intersection. I scanned the intersection, as I always do, and I was trained to do by Harley-Davidson in their Rider's Edge course. All cars on the sides were stopped. I did see a car coming towards me in the oncoming lane. However, I did not see a blinker. I obviously was going to continue through the intersection, thinking this car was going to go right by me. And as the light turned yellow, I crossed over the crosswalk. I'm full into the intersection, and then I realized this car coming in the opposite direction decided he was going to take a left-hand turn across the intersection. And so I had about a split second to realize I was about to get hit. I locked up the brakes, turned the bars as hard as I could, and couldn't avoid it. I was impacted on my left side, and my foot got sort of trapped between my motorcycle and the driver's bumper as I got ejected over the hood of the car. And basically my foot got hung up and was almost completely ripped off. It was basically broken in about 3 different directions. If this is the bottom of your foot, I went here, here, then here. All the skin from the bottom of my foot was degloved, as if you pull a glove off that's too tight, it rolls inside out. The skin on my bottom of my foot was tore up and pulled over my toes, and all the nerves on my foot were completely crushed. The doctors did a great job surgically rebuilding the bonework. However, the nerve damage was very, very extensive. I did everything I could to try and get back on my feet, so to speak, and begin walking again. It was not easy. It was very painful. Even at rest with my foot elevated, I felt constant nerve pain like my foot was in a campfire. Every step I took sent lightning up my spine through my body, and it was just not a very pleasant experience. I worked with my doctors deeply, many doctors, a nerve specialist, my surgeon, seeing a psychologist, just to make sure we go over all of the options to try and correct what had happened and give me the best feel for the rest of my life. I couldn't really work well. I went back to work and basically had to push myself through pain just to get a few hours in a day. I started developing back issues because of my foot was so bad I would limp, and next thing I know I'm seeing a chiropractor and a physical therapist trying to get my back worked out. Didn't help. The constant pain and all the rising medical issues were one thing. Working closely with my doctors, after 6 surgeries, we all agreed that we had exhausted all the options. And it had always been kind of on the back burner and in the back of my head, knowing that amputation might be the best solution. I'm young, I need to work, I need to be active, so it's very important that I don't have a bad foot holding me back from my future or, whatever else comes my way in life. So it was an easy decision. I lived with my foot quite a while. I did a lot of research to see what life is like as an amputee. I met and spoke with amputees, spoke deeply with all my doctors about everything we had done and what to expect with the amputation. And it was deemed that it would be the best thing for me. So basically, I was in my accident in the summer of July 2010, and I did everything I could medically, with my job, with my social life, and it did not work. On October 20th this last year, I had a transtibial below the knee amputation on my left leg, and I am now fitted with the prosthesis and walking very well, and I'm pain-free, and I'm getting back my life. Basically one step at a time, not to be cliche or throw puns, but it is what it is, and the problem has been alleviated. I'm pain-free. I spend more time on my prosthesis than I could on my foot as it was, and not a doubt in my mind that I made the right decision. So you can handle it 2 ways. You can be positive or you can be negative. Letting it beat you and being negative reaps you nothing. Being positive and keeping your chin up and looking at this as just another life experience makes all the difference. I've always had good medical coverage and never had any problems with anything. Everything after the accident was covered, no issues there, but after the accident, my first morning in the hospital, I knew that I was going to need help. So that's when I called Huby and Abraham. I mean, it was an obvious choice. You know, everybody knows they're the motorcycle attorneys and they've got your back. They know where you're coming from, they understand your experience, they've been there, and they're going to give you the best help and representation you could have. My first day in the hospital, I contacted Huby and Abraham. Shortly thereafter, I had an investigator come to the hospital room to meet me, take down my story, share a whole bunch of life stories that he's experienced with other people in accidents and similar situations. So from day one, I felt at comfort knowing that I was with somebody that had my back, that was going to be there and that understood. We got my motorcycle in for an estimate, and you know, it was totaled, so he handled everything. All I had to do was work and focus on my recovery and stay in touch with Drew, and everything was worked out very quickly in regards to the motorcycle. I can call and ask for somebody and just say who I am by my first name, and when I get them on the phone, they know who I am. I'm not just another number or a case file. You know, I feel like a person who's actually got people looking out for me, and I'm being well represented. My medical insurance was a little bit difficult about covering my prosthetic leg, which is kind of a bummer. When you lose your foot, you need a prosthetic leg. Living my life in a wheelchair or on crutches was not an option. And my medical insurance company, you know, initially denied my claim and didn't want to cover it and all these other things, which makes absolutely no sense to me. I had to make phone calls to my insurance company. My insurance broker had to make calls to the insurance company. And Jennifer Canavan, her heart broke when she heard about what I was going through. She got involved. She made phone calls to the insurance company and stayed in contact with me. She stayed in contact with my insurance broker. She stayed in contact with my insurance company. And throughout all of it, it was a little scary. It was a crazy situation where you're thinking, wow, here I am. You know, I've got this prosthesis. Suddenly it's out of my hands because of a medical complication or an insurance complication. But Huby and Abraham were there behind me, and within 2 weeks everything was ironed out. My insurance company covered what I needed, and now I have my leg and I'm back on track, taking steps, walking, and doing things that I wasn't able to do prior. The biggest help that I think I received is emotionally and mentally. It's a very harrowing thing to go through, and when you have that sort of help behind you, it just makes all the difference. I can't just sit on the couch all day with my leg laying there. You know, I have to put it on, get up, wear it, get used to it, you know, and just adapt, and it's going wonderfully.